Hello, welcome to Management Accounting Part 2 Special Class. I am your teacher for this semester, Romualdo Fernandez Credo. Our first lesson is Variable and Absorption Costing. So if you are ready, please get a pen and the paper for you to write down notes. So let's start. The topic is about the two different methods of costing, which is the absorption and variable. So before we discuss and note down yung difference ng dalawang costing method, let us first tackle yung type of costs. So, unahin na natin yung cost na magiging part ng cost ng product o yung tinatawag nating production costs. So, apat sila. So, we have direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, and fixed manufacturing overhead. Yan yung standard na kino-consider natin na product cost under yung full costing na tinatawag natin. Sa GAAP, yan ang nilist niya as part ng product cost. Direct materials are those materials that are directly attributable dun sa product. Mga materials na main materials na ginamit dun sa product. Direct labor, on the other hand, ito yung mga may gumawa ng product, may physical hand. Ito yung in charge sa conversion ng product from raw materials into finished product. So, nahawakan nila yung product, kaya tinawag na direct labor. Ngayon, meron din tayong tinatawag na manufacturing overhead. So, ito yung, dito na yung pumapasok yung the rest, yung other costs na hindi pwedeng maklasify as direct materials and direct labor. So, nandito na rin yung mga indirect materials at saka indirect labor. So, nasa manufacturing overhead siya. So, we have two types of manufacturing overhead. Yung variable at saka fixed manufacturing overhead. So, yung variable manufacturing overhead, ito yung nagbabari in relation to the activity. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Siyempre, pag dumadami yung pinoproduce, dumadami din itong manufacturing overhead na to. Kung konti lang ang na-produce, siyempre konti din lang ang manufacturing overhead na variable. Kaya nga vary, nag-iiba-iba. Although, it is constant per unit yan ha. So, wag kayong malilito. It is variable in total, pero per unit it is constant. While yung fixed manufacturing overhead naman, ito yung manufacturing overhead na kahit anong production level na relevant dun sa production, hindi siya nagva-vary. So, for example, nag-produce ka ng 50,000, yun pa rin ang manufacturing overhead mo, hindi affected. Nag-produce ka ng 60,000, yun pa rin, ang same amount pa rin, 70,000, same amount pa rin, 80,000, same amount pa rin ang fixed manufacturing overhead. Nagiging fixed lang naman yan within a relevant range lang siya. And then ito naman, fixed in amount, pero pag computation ng costing, it is variable per unit. Nag-iiba-iba siya per unit. Kasi nga, fixed yung amount. Since nag-iiba-iba yung production mo, so pwedeng nagpa-fluctuate yung per unit. Kasi depende sa mag-absorb ng costs. So yan yung mga tinatawag nating product cost sa GAAP, sa full costing. So lahat ng manufacturing costs, regardless kung variable man yan o fixed, kasama sa product cost. Now, aside from yung product cost, meron din tayong tinatawag na selling, general, and administrative expenses na just like yung overhead, ika-classify din natin siya as variable selling and administrative expenses at saka fixed selling and administrative expenses. So just like yung discussion natin kanina sa fixed and variable manufacturing overhead, ganun din yung nature ng variable selling and administrative expenses at saka fixed selling and administrative expenses. Variable kasi nagbabari siya sa level of activity. On the other hand, yung mayroon namang selling and administrative expenses na fixed, hindi affected by yung kung magkano yung level of activity. So kung kanina ang tawag doon sa cost, kanina yung direct materials, direct labor, at factory overhead na fixed and variable ay product cost. Ito naman ay tinatawag nating period cost. Charge sa revenue kaagad kasi nga regular expense. Unlike anong pagkakaiba ng period cost at saka product cost, kasi yung product cost kasi i-apply mo yung matching concept, di ba? I-deduct mo lang yung cost ng product kapag nabenta mo na yung goods, di ba? Matching ng cost at saka revenue. Unlike itong selling kasi period cost to expense na kaagad. Expense classification summary. So, pwede natin i-classify ang cost as manufacturing at saka period cost. Of course, yung manufacturing, yan yung tinatawag nating product cost, at yung period cost, yan yung operating expenses. Or, yung cost, pwede mo rin siyang i-classify according sa kanyang behavior naman. Behavior ng cost. Nag-iiba-iba ba siya o hindi? Kaya variable at saka fixed. Kapag nag-iiba-iba, depende sa level of activity ng company, variable yon. Kapag hindi naman siya affected ng level of activity, ganun pa rin yung expense kahit na mag-operate in full or extra ang performance ng business, ganun pa rin yung cost na yun, it is fixed. Manufacturing cost and inventory. Manufacturing costs are accounted for as inventory on the balance sheet date. So yung manufacturing costs is considered, yun tinatawag nilang inventoriable siya. So ipipresent mo siya as current asset. Yung portion na hindi nabenta. Paano yung nabenta? Ito naman yung second. Once inventory is sold, manufacturing cost reported as cost of goods sold in the income statement. Ito naman yung hindi nabenta. So, ganun yung treatment ng manufacturing, ng product costs. So, magiging inventory siya. So, ipipresent mo siya sa balance sheet, hindi siya expense. Kasi sa balance sheet siya pupunta yung value ng hindi mo nabentang produce na goods. While, yung nabenta naman, ayan, yung manufacturing costs are reported as cost of goods sold. So, saan ba nakikita ang cost of goods sold? Siyempre, sa income statement. So, doon ang pinupuntahan nung product costs under normal costing o yung full costing na tinatawag natin. Now, let us compare kung ano ang pagkakaiba ng absorption sa variable costing. What is absorption costing ba? What is variable costing? So, unahin na natin yung absorption kasi I'm sure familiar ka na kasi yan ang ginagamit sa financial accounting, sa cost accounting. Hindi nga lang siya tinatawag na absorption costing. Hindi nga lang siya tinatawag na full costing. Pero ito yung GAAP, ito yung accepted. Ito yung correct na treatment ng cost, ay classification ng cost. Unlike yung variable, it is for management. Yung variable costing, it is for management purposes lang. Absorption costing classifies fixed manufacturing overhead as a manufacturing cost. While yung variable costing classifies fixed manufacturing overhead as period cost. So, pinoint out niya yung difference ng absorption sa variable costing. Nasa treatment ng manufacturing overhead na fixed. Sa absorption costing, part pa rin siya ng product cost. Kasama pa rin siya sa inventoriable cost. While yung variable costing, yung fixed manufacturing overhead, isasama mo siya sa selling and administrative expenses. Kasi sinabi niya, no, period cost daw under variable costing. Yan, for a clearer view, may clear na illustration para kita-kita yung difference, no? So, under absorption costing, ang product cost niya ay direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, at saka fixed manufacturing overhead. While under variable costing, ano lang ang kasama sa kanyang product cost? Yung direct materials, direct labor, at yun lang variable manufacturing overhead. So, nakita mo yung difference. So, mas marami ang product cost sa absorption costing. 4 sila. Direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, saka fixed manufacturing overhead. While sa variable costing, 3 na lang. Direct materials, direct labor, at saka yung variable manufacturing overhead lang. Saan napunta yung fixed sa variable costing? Nasa period cost na siya, nasa expense na siya. So, ang period cost ng variable costing is fixed manufacturing overhead, variable selling and administrative expenses, saka fixed selling and administrative expenses. Ang period cost ng variable costing. While yung absorption costing, yung traditional pa rin, yung dati pa rin na period cost, which is yung variable selling and administrative expenses at saka fixed selling and administrative expenses. So, kitang-kita yung pagkakaiba ng absorption sa variable costing. So, ano ngayon yung effect ng difference sa treatment nila ng fixed manufacturing overhead? So, let's review. Under absorption costing, yung fixed manufacturing overhead, since nasa inventory siya, hindi siya naibawas sa revenue. Diba? So, mas maliit yung deduction ni absorption costing. Bakit? Kasi yung inventory niya, merong fixed manufacturing overhead na hindi na i-deduct. Under variable costing, fixed manufacturing overhead is reported in full in the income statement as a fixed cost. While kapag ang ginamit mo ay variable costing, yung fixed manufacturing overhead na i-deduct na kasi nga period cost. So, sa absorption, hindi na i-deduct. Sa variable costing, na-deduct na. So, kaya sila nagkaroon ng difference. Thus, when inventory manufactured differs from inventory sold, net income will differ from absorption saka variable costing. So kapag hindi daw parehas yung produce at saka binenta, ibig sabihin may maiiwang inventory. So every time na may maiiwang inventory, hindi mabibenta lahat ng produce. Ibig sabihin nun, may difference yung net income ni variable at saka ni absorption costing. So ganito ang mangyayari sa difference, magiging difference sa na net income ni variable saka ni absorption costing. So, mayroong parehas na 10,000 na fixed manufacturing overhead ni absorption costing at mayroon din si variable costing na 10,000. Pero, since absorption costing, i-treat niya yan as product cost, so ano ang gagawin ni absorption costing? I-divide niya sa level of activity, kung ilan yung na-produce o na-manufacture ng company para makuha yung fixed manufacturing overhead per unit, 5 pesos. Ngayon, i-multiply mo yung 5 pesos sa nabenta para makuha mo yung product cost ay yung cost of goods sold applying to fixed manufacturing overhead. Pero since hindi pa siya nabenta, so ang mangyayari, wala siyang i-deduct sa income statement na wala siyang i-deduct sa revenue o sa revenue ng income statement. While yung under variable costing, it is part ng period cost. So, i-expense na siya. Ayan. So, as you can see, ang expense sa income statement is 10,000 under variable costing, while yung sa absorption, wala. Kasi nga, wala pang nabenta, kaya hindi pa pwedeng i-multiply yung 5 sa unit. So, kasi nga hindi pa siya nabenta. So, wala pang expense under absorption costing. So, anong magiging difference nila sa net income? 10,000. So, para makompute yung difference sa net income ni variable saka ni absorption costing, so pwede mong i-compute na, no? So, kukunin mo lang yung difference ng units manufactured sa units sold. So, ibabawas mo lang kung magkano ba yung manufacture minus yung binenta. Tapos, makukuha mo yung increase in inventory, tapos i-multiply mo sa factory overhead, fixed manufacturing overhead per unit, yun, times 5. Kaya magiging difference, makukompute yung difference sa net income na 10,000. So, let's illustrate. So, $40 ang sales price. Kunwari, manufactured is 800. Units sold, 780. Yung direct materials is 9 pesos per unit. Direct labor, 5 pesos per unit. Variable manufacturing overhead is 6 per unit. Fixed manufacturing overhead, $4,000. Variable administrative expenses, 2,800. Fixed manufacturing overhead, fixed administrative expenses, rather, 4,200. Okay, so tandaan mo na yung mga important information. Okay, so let's compute yung inventoriable costs under absorption at saka variable costing. So please take note, sa absorption costing, 4 ang kanyang inventoriable cost: direct materials, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, plus fixed manufacturing overhead. Pero sa variable costing, 3 na lang: direct material, direct labor, at saka variable manufacturing overhead. So to compute for the inventoriable costs, magkano yung product cost sa variable on absorption, given naman ito sa problem kanina na binasa natin, Direct materials is 9 pesos. Parehas lang sila, 9 pesos din. Direct labor, 5 pesos. Parehas din lang sa variable costing. I-recognize din niya yan. And then, variable manufacturing overhead, 6 pesos. 6 pesos din dito. So, for a total of 20 pesos silang parehas. Tapos, imumultiply sa units manufactured, yung ginawa. So, 20 times 800 equals 16 sila parehas. Pero take note dito sila magkakaroon ng difference. Sa absorption costing, doon sa 16,000 na variable manufacturing cost, para makuha yung total production cost, idadagdag mo pa syempre yung fixed kasi nga product cost siya. So, plus 4,000, naging 20 na yung total inventory cost sa absorption, while yung variable costing, hindi dinagdag yung fixed manufacturing overhead kasi hindi siya kasama. So, magkano ang total inventoryable cost ng variable and absorption? 16 lang versus 20 sa inventoryable cost ng absorption costing. So, to get yung inventory cost, i-divide mo lang yung total inventoryable costs na 20,000 sa absorption costing at saka 16,000 sa variable costing ng kanyang kung ilan yung na-manufacture niya, divide mo lang. So, 20 divided by 800 is 25. 16 divided by 800 is 20 pesos. Okay, income statement preparation tayo. Absorption costing muna. So, sales, o yung unit sold lang naman yan, times selling price, multiply mo lang. So, 31,200. Yung cost of goods sold naman, na-compute natin kanina yung inventoryable cost doon sa previous slide, 25 times yung unit sold lang naman equals 19,500. Then get the difference. 31,200 plus 19,500, 11,700. Then ibawas mo na yung administrative expenses, fixed at saka variable. So 2,800 plus 4,200 equals 7,000. So 7,000 minus ma-minus mo sa gross profit na 11,700. Magkano ang operating, wait lang, 11,700 pala minus total administrative expenses na 7,000. So equals 4,700. Paki-correct lang yan. Correction. On the other hand, sa variable costing, ganito naman yung sa variable costing. So sales, parehas lang sila. Unit sold times selling price. Tapos, ibabawas yung variable manufacturing costs na compute kanina sa previous slide. Yung computation ng inventoryable cost natin, 15,600. Tapos, ibabawas yung variable administrative cost. So, according kasi sa proponent ng their absorption costing, mas maganda yung variable kaysa yung mga fixed. Kasi nga yung fixed, wala ka nang magagawa. Kahit mag-effort ka, ganun pa rin yung expense. Ayan, so magkano yung variable administrative cost? 2,800. So, bawas mo, i-add mo pala muna yung mga total variable cost. 15,600 plus 2,800 equals 18,400. So, next, ang contribution margin ay 12,800. So, ang computation ng contribution margin is yung revenue minus yung mga variable cost. So, 31,200 minus 15,600 minus 2,800 equals 12,800. And then, babawas mo na yung mga fixed cost. Fixed manufacturing, saka fixed administrative, 4,000 at saka 4,200 respectively. Ang total ay 8,200. So, ang difference ang profit pala muna ng variable costing is 4,600. So, compare natin dun sa una-una, 4,700. So, mayroong 100 na difference. Let's proceed sa reconciliation ng income under variable costing at saka absorption costing. So una, kukunin mo yung difference ng units produced saka units sold. So 780 yung units sold saka units produced 800. So merong increase in inventory na 20. Then kukompute mo yung fixed manufacturing overhead per unit. So, mayroong fixed manufacturing overhead na 4,000 tapos divide mo yan ng 800 lang kasi 800 lang sila. So, ang fixed manufacturing overhead per unit nila is 5 pesos. So, ngayon, para makuha mo yung income is multiply mo yung 20 sa fixed factory overhead per unit na 5 pesos. So, ang difference is 100. Relationship between production and sales and its effect to net income. So, if production P is equal to sales, yung S, yung absorption costing sa variable costing net income daw is parehas. Walang, di ba, wala kasing nag-cost ng difference. Walang naiwang inventory. Kasi nga, nabenta lahat yung produce. So, walang difference sa absorption sa variable costing. Parehas lang yung net income nila. Case B, production is greater than sales. So, mas malaki ang produce sa nabenta. So, may naiwang inventory. So, therefore, ang rule is madi-differ siya. Kaya absorption costing net income is greater. While yung letter C, production is less than sales. So, natural, yung absorption costing is lesser than as to net income. Okay, so as a requirement, you have to answer these 5 questions. Paki-upload or paki-antay yung link na ilalagay ko kung saan kayo magsasubmit ng answer dito sa question na ito, review question. Para this is my way to check kung nagbabasa kayo talaga ng lesson. So, pakisagutan na lang yan. It will be graded. So, 5 questions in all. Sagutan yan. Sa paper. Picturean. Isend sa link. Or, kung meron kayong laptop or computer, pwedeng i-encode naman tapos send sa link. So, parehas naman pwede. Depende sa inyo kung ano yung available na resources sa inyo. Okay, so akala ko tapos na. Meron pala ditong problem din. Okay, so based sa diniscuss natin kanina, solve itong problem. Mag-compute ng unit cost katulad ng ginawa sa discussion natin, mag-compute ng unit cost and product at gagawa ng income statement. So, thank you. Under absorption sa variable costing. So, thank you for listening. This is your teacher, Romualdo Fernandez Credo, saying, God bless.